Hello, welcome to Happy Catastrophe. I'm Candace, or Sister as I'm known, and I have one of our favorite videos. It's one of my favorite videos, and several of you are really enjoying this. This is the hashtag Color the Tarot series, and we are on card number 3, video number 4. And today we're doing the Empress. So if you are just beginning, I'm going to go through the little short spiel again. This is a series and it goes in order, and I highly recommend you go to the first in the series. You can find a playlist for this on my channel. And the first video will be an introduction and card 0, the Fool. And then it goes through up to where we are now. There is no hurry, no rush. You can complete pages anytime you want. You can post them to Instagram. If you don't have Instagram, you can direct message me. Just let me know how you need to send it to me. But most folks are posting it with the hashtag Color the Tarot. I find your pictures and I bring them into the very next video that I film. So there's absolutely no rush. And as you'll see, I'm even behind on my own hashtags. So this is a total do-it-your-own pace. So let's begin. Probably I should give a disclaimer that I am not an expert on the tarot. I've just studied it a lot as an art form. I am actually a Buddhist nun, which is nowhere near being a tarot expert, but I do love to color and I love the images on the tarot, and I think they are great as a meditative tool. So this is one of the books that I've noticed a lot of you are getting, and it is a really neat book. Whether you use it to its fullest extent or just to color the pictures, totally up to you, but it's a lovely book. It's very modern, which is nice. So I usually like to start with this one. So I am going to remember these. Remember we did the Fool. That was our first card, and then we did the Magician, the High Priestess, and now we're at the Empress. And there's the Empress rendition that Lisa Sterle gives in this book. So before we begin on all of this and get started on the Empress, I think we still the images that I have received, I don't think are so unwieldy that I can't show them all right here. So let's reflect on the images that you guys have all done up until today, which is about mid-May of 2023. It's May 17th. And I'll put them in order of the cards. So you'll see images that you have colored from the Fool, the Magician, and then the High Priestess. So let's take a look. Aren't those beautiful? I absolutely love them. I have seen so many wonderful renditions and so many beautiful creative expression. I just love it. Thank you so much for coming along this journey with me. So many of you are just now getting this book and are just starting on it. So as we know, Lisa Stoll was a comic book artist, and then she created this. So there is the introduction. There's some great images to color. She's very into the empowerment of women and the strong divine feminine. We looked at the Fool in the first video. We looked at the reflections. We looked at the Magician in the second video and talked about the reflections. The last one we did was the High Priestess. And as you can see, I've not colored them in this book. And we looked at the reflections. If we want to review the reflections we talked about for last time, for this one, the High Priestess is all about bringing knowledge into the world. So it's about coming to a crossroads and needing more information to move forward. So, or move internally. So whatever you need, the High Priestess has for you. And we saw in other renditions that the High Priestess is often portrayed with a scroll. Well, in this modern tarot, she has a laptop. But she is an access to the inner and the outer world, so she can help you go internally and find what you're looking for, or externally if you need more information to move forward. Now, the Empress and the High Priestess, I often get confused with, but the Empress is very, very different. The Empress, and let's move you down here, they do a very modern rendition, and I actually love what Lisa does here. So the Empress is always, nearly always, I shouldn't say always, but you will see her with a crown, and usually a big crown. She is the queen. If there's a queen in the deck, that's her. She is in touch with her own sexuality and her sensuality. This is a card of extreme self-love. It also often can, if you believe in the tarot and you're getting, and this comes up, a good tarot reader might also ask if you're pregnant, because this is a card that can indicate pregnancy. But for meditation purposes, this is one who the environment is set up for her own comfort and her own, and it's lush. She is lushness. So she has, she's sitting on cushions that are comfortable. She has the divine feminine symbol here. And there almost always you will see crystals around her. And many of the cards that I will be showing throughout this video, you'll probably see crystals and crowns. When she appears, Lisa writes, you have the potential for as much abundance in your life. So she's abundance, she's verdant, she's lush, she's just overflowing, and she is all woman. So this card, Lisa Stoll, was heavily inspired by Beyonce and her 2017 Grammys appearance, when she wore a crown just like this. So they modeled her earrings and crown after that appearance. And they have this, she has this person with her proud and defiant. She's staring you right in the eye. She's wearing her hair natural. She's wearing her style natural. Beyonce's seminal album was Lemonade, where she explores the trauma and the angst that is generationally experienced by African American and Black people in America. So they put lemons on her dress to honor Beyonce's Lemonade album. So this is very heavily influenced by someone that I think we all can kind of agree is a leader in Black femininity and equality and self-love. So that's what this is all about. What Lisa Stoll writes here is the Empress is the heart of all verdant life, which is why you often see a lush landscape around her, uniting with a stream of consciousness that powers the universe. So sometimes you'll see like there's a river here, and that's symbolic of the stream of consciousness, and you'll often see flowing water. No matter how harsh things look, like these sharp rocks and these crystal rocks, there is power to be found in self-love. She may be a queen, but she's part of a movement. She's got her natural hair. She's got her crown. The Empress has risen above hardship to own her power. She's in her power. She's sitting there on a throne. She's got her crown. And she gazes unflinchingly at the reader, encouraging you to do the same. So she is a strong, powerful woman. Think of a woman that you really admire in your life. Does she have some of this Empress, she or he? Do they have some of this, or they? Do they have some of this Empress power in them? So in Buddhism, that we have a saying, and I've heard it in many spiritual belief sayings, that you could travel the world over and find no one more worthy of your love than yourself. So self-love, that's what this card's all about. Loving who you are, no matter what you look like, no matter what your situation is, you are a boss. And then, of course, we have the mandala that none of us are coloring. And then the reflection questions that Lisa Sterl writes is all about power. If you have power, where do you get it? How do you feel powerful? Name 5 things you love about yourself. And I know some of us are thinking these things, some of us are writing in this, some of us are ignoring this altogether, but this is a really neat exercise, just this one. If you could just sit back for a second or pause this video or think about it later in the bath or wherever, name 5 things you love about yourself. Sometimes it's hard to get to 5. Culturally, some cultures have a hard time expressing love for themselves. Here in the United States, it's not something we talk about, and it's considered, we always feel kind of embarrassed if we talk about things that we love about ourselves. It seems egotistical or bragging, and it's better conversation to talk about all the negative things. But let's put a pause on that negative tape for a bit, and can you name 5 things that you love about yourself? I tell you, it's really empowering. And if you can come up with more than 5, fantastic. So, yes, I love this little tip she's got here. This card pays homage to Beyonce's intention in making lemonade, as she explained in the 2017 Grammys. It's important to me to show images to my children that reflect their beauty, so they can grow up in a world where they look in the mirror, first through their own families, as well as the news, the Olympics, the White House, and the Grammys, see themselves and have no doubt that they're beautiful, intelligent, and capable. Isn't that great? So you can also reflect on what is coming into life, like being born in your life, because that's kind of another thing the Empress brings about, is something that's coming into your life. And is there a lesson that you've learned from hardship? I think we've all experienced hardships, and like Beyonce and her lemonade, we can rise above. All right, so that's an introduction to the Empress. Let's look at some other options for coloring. I always like next to go to this book. Many of you have this book. Many of you have had this book. It's not a new book. Aren't these images amazing? I just love them. As you saw in the little slideshow I did, several of you colored these. You colored this one for the Fool. I colored this for the Magician, and many of you colored this one too. And this is Alexis Thompson. Her images are just beautiful. And in a world of AI, isn't this refreshing? We did the High Priestess last video. And it's interesting because these both have the High Priestess and the Empress have the same unflinching stare, the same pose, but they are very different. Where the High Priestess is bringing information, she's a conduit between the subconscious, the unknown, and the known. See her scroll. The pomegranates are symbols of femininity and of knowledge. She's all about knowledge, where the Empress is all about the self-love, lushness, ripeness. See her gigantic crown. She loves her crowns. She's even got a scepter, this one does. And here, Alexis Thompson says she is the embodiment of beauty and femininity. Her expression is serene. You will see that a lot. She's very comfortable with who she is. Her lush surroundings signify a strong connection with nature. So in a lot of images, you'll see a lot going on around the Empress. She has close links to both the mystical and natural worlds, which is something she has common with the High Priestess. And in this depiction, the 12 stars on her crown represent the 12 months of the year and the 12 planets of the solar system, which is something Alexis does in a lot of these images. Alexis doesn't explain why she's why she put the monarchs in I think they're monarchs, or why she had these lilies. I think they are not lilies, irises. But I think she just, and these leaves, this is just a lot of greenery around here. This would be so beautiful color, don't you think? She's got this very austere Elizabethan collar, and that would be really interesting to contrast this with all the greenery and the lushness around her. You could use any color palette. I just think it would be amazing. So what she says this card means is, with her opulent robes and lavish jewels, again, we have a lot of jewels, just like in the Beyonce one we just saw. The Empress is a card connected with abundance. So that's, again, a word we heard in the last book, is that she really symbolizes abundance. There's just a lot coming out. It calls on the receiver to embrace their sensuality and revel in the fruitfulness of the world around them. So as austere as she looks, she's also beckoning you to enjoy what you have around you. Enjoy the abundance of the world and of the planet and of your life. Enjoy the good things. And again, she says this is also one of the strongest indicators that a pregnancy is on the way. So that is her version of the Empress. And I'm really excited to see. In fact, that's her, isn't it? I'm sitting here staring at this and didn't realize it. There's the Empress. That's the way she colored it. And look at the color palette she used. Isn't that neat? I would have never thought of purples and blues. But why not? I didn't even see if there were grapes. No, there's irises in this one. This is just extra stuff. See, you can see the irises here. That's the actual page right here. And I love the gold. All right, let's look at another one. Cuteness overload. Lulu Mayo has this fantastic book, Kawaii Tarot coloring book. A lot of you have it. We all agree it's different from all of our others. We just can't agree on how. Some people like this paper better. Some people like it worse. I have found this paper to be, I think it depends on what medium you like, but I have found this paper to be better than her regular books for the mediums I use. For one thing, they're essentially, at least for now, one-sided. So you can use alcohol markers if you want to. I don't know if I did in these. No, I really didn't. I didn't do the High Priestess in this one. And see, there she is with her information, with her scrolls. She's bringing, she's the conduit. She's knowledge from one side to the other, just helping you tap into the knowledge you need. Whereas the Empress, is a queen. And of course, she's a poodle. With a crown and a fancy hairdo. Why not? I think Lulu Mayo, she actually has a tarot deck that you can purchase on Amazon. There are reviews of it on YouTube. Real, true tarot readers have a hard time with it because it's just so dang cute. But for those of us that just collect these things because we like the art, it's adorable. And again, I think these are pomegranates. Again, you'll see pomegranates a lot where there's femininity and femaleness. So what Lulu Mayo writes is, think about abundance, beauty, benevolence, and a new birth. So again, the same stuff we're seeing. The same feminine symbol with a heart. We've seen that in other places. Appreciate where you are and what you have. Ask yourself, how do you use your many gifts? What have you given to others and what have they given to you? And I don't believe we're talking about like Christmas and birthday gifts. We're talking about what are those 5 things you love about yourself, and how have you used those things to benefit others, and how have people used their talents to benefit you? So a poodle with a crown, and she's got Victorian, I don't know, is that Elizabethan as well, collar? She's got the bows. She's fancy, very fancy. So there's a lot of lavishness, jewelry and hair and crowns and just richness. That's what the Empress symbolizes. And it's not about worshiping her. You don't see a lot of images in these cards where things are worshiping her, but they are attracted to her because isn't self-confidence sexy? You know what I'm talking about? If you are confident in yourself, if you love yourself, A, nobody can get you down. So bullies, their ammunition is gone. And B, you're sexy as heck. You really are. So it is attractive. whether you are sexually active or not. I probably shouldn't use sexy as the word because, as a celibate nun, but I know that you are attracting and attractive to others. If I walk down the street and I'm confident with my head held up, I get people coming up to me wanting to talk to me. And part of it is my confidence, and part of it is I'm bald and in robes, and obviously I'm a weirdo that might actually listen to their problems, and I do, and I love it, and that's what I do. But there's also something to be said about just this really confident demeanor that the creatures of the woodlands and the plants and the world around you just blossom. Your confidence can create abundance and is completely contagious. It really is. And you have earned the right to be confident because you're amazing. You are perfect exactly how you are. So that's Lulu Mayo. Her version is a poodle with a crown, because of course it is. Last example I have out of my collection is Mythographic Cosmic Spirit. And the artist in this one is Fabiana Attanasio, who's one of my top 5 favorite artists. So I do love this book. And the picture that we have for the Empress is this one. So let's see if we can find some of that imagery that we've gotten used to finding now. Fabiana always does hers a little bit differently. It's very stylized, very artistic. But here we have crystals. There's the crystals all around. She has an animal with her, which looks like a fox, which is a really interesting choice. Foxes are symbolic of intelligence, sometimes of slyness, but they definitely find their ways out of problems, that's for sure. And this particular one even has crystals growing in his ear. So there's crystals everywhere, crystals all around. It almost looks like it's a snowy. You could make this icicles dripping down. You could make it moss. Here in the Pacific Northwest of the United States, it's a temperate rainforest where I live. And so we have lots of drippy moss like this, which is probably what I would do because the rest of this is like hydrangeas or something blooming. So I would probably make this as it would be really cool to make all the seasons mixed up together too. It'd be great to have ice and flowers. Wouldn't that be neat? Because she's magical after all, but she's holding some of this lushness as verdant, and there's wheat. Yeah, I would probably just make this really drippy and wet. And again, verdant, lush. She's surrounded by nature. She does not have a crown, but she has all this hair. She has that 1,000-yard stare staring out. And this is a very intricate but beautiful, beautiful picture. A little intimidating for me because I think what would make or break this picture would be the color palette, which is not my strong point. But I think a really cool color palette would make this just stand out. And the way her hair weaves in and out and becomes part of the nature around her. So that definitely she is connected. She does have a strong connection with nature. But again, that's because nature is abundant, is lush, is constantly giving, right? So if we are in abundance, if we are confident, if we are self-loving, then our cup can stay pretty full. When our cup gets drained, we know what to do and where to go to fill it back up, right? We retreat and have time on our own. If you're an extrovert, you go out with friends and you spend time with friends, whatever fills your cup. But as an empress, we know what that is. As an empress, we've experienced hardship. Now, again, these are all women, and I keep saying she, but gender is not important. This is talking about the archetype of femininity, not an actual woman. So it doesn't matter what gender you identify as, you can have Empress spirit and power in you. You can identify with Empress spirit and Empress power. So whether you're born with an innie or an outie, it doesn't matter. You can have this self-confidence, this feeling of abundance, that there is enough, that you deserve a position in this world, that you can walk out the door with confidence because you have every right to be here and to be putting your feet down on this planet, and be proud of yourself. And as my dog growls in appreciation, what are 5 things about yourself that you love? Thank you for joining me today on our 4th video of the Color the Tarot series. Please check my channel and the playlist if you've missed any, and go back to the beginning and start with number 1. Please do post your pictures. There is no time limit. This is just going to go and go and go, and I'll just keep plugging through the cards. As long as you put a hashtag of Color the Tarot, I will find your picture and I will get them loaded up. As we gather more and more pictures, I may not be able to show all of them every video, but until they're too cumbersome, I am going to do that. And then when we get too many, I'll just start showing the new ones. But then I think what I'll do is I'll periodically put out a video that is just your pictures, because isn't it neat to see them all together? I just love it. So I'll just post videos now and then that I won't talk or anything. We'll just have all of your images as we grow and grow and grow this giant tarot deck that we're building of our images. Isn't this grand? And I love seeing what you're doing on your videos. Thank you so much for your shout outs about this hashtag. I really feel like, we have a fantastic community already, and this is just another supportive building block for this community that already exists out there. And thank you for being part of it. Bye-bye.